Welcome to Project Metal Music! Join the fun! Chat with the bands! Ask them questions, chill out and relax!
Hey guys, welcome to Project Metal Music's YouTube channel with your host Dan Young, and we are here with the brilliant Retro Effect. So welcome guys.
How are you?
Guys?
So guys, could you introduce yourselves and what you do within the band?
Yeah, I'm Mo. I'm the lead singer and lead guitar player, and I write a lot of the songs.
I'm Paul. I'm the drummer. I hit things. I'm Christopher. I play bass.
Yeah, cool. So let's dive into some questions. As kids, what were you listening to?
Well, for me, it was all the 90s alternative. Kind of got addicted to Smashing Pumpkins from a young age, and then just went down the rabbit hole. Alice in Chains, Nirvana, Pearl Jam, Silverchair, massive Silverchair fan, still am. So it was all kind of just the alternate grunge, heavy rock of the 90s. That's kind of what I was raised on.
Nice. Yeah, I listened to a lot of stuff from the 70s. I was a big fan of like Rush, Zeppelin, Sabbath, things like that. Some kind of other bands like Fishbone Ash, that kind of jazzier style, big sound. Really, really enjoyed that. And I was a bit older, got into the 90s stuff. But,
Cool.
Yeah, I kind of went a bit more roundabout. Listened to a lot of garbage when I was a kid. Not the band Garbage, just a lot of really bad music. But yeah, I kind of came around through stuff like the Beatles, the Jam. I segued into a lot of REM from there, and then sort of graduated into Pumpkins, a lot of Metallica, a lot of heavier stuff, and yeah, Rage Against the Machine, Audio Slave, that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Who actually got you into sort of like listening to music? Was it a family member such as your parents or a sibling, or was it like a journey of self-discovery?
Yeah, that's a really weird one for me. I think I kind of figured it out by myself. I was raised more kind of like, learning violin and going down the classical route, and then I think once I got into school, I didn't have any older siblings to guide me along the right path, but I found my friends in school, and they were listening to Green Day, and they gave me Dookie, and it just all blew up from there, really. Yeah.
I think everything for me came from my dad. I don't think anything else. A bit of my mom too, but my dad's a massive music fan, so.
Yeah, it was my Uncle Gabriel for me. He introduced me to the Jam back in the day, and that sort of changed a lot of things for me. Yeah, my older brother, yeah, you said you didn't have an older sibling to guide you the right way. I did have an older sibling who failed to guide me in the right way. But yeah, my Uncle Gabriel was definitely the guy that kind of put me on to a lot more guitar-driven music and that punkier vibe with the likes of the Jam and that kind of thing.
Cool. So, out of all the bands that you've listened to over the years, who was your main influence to say, I want to do that, I want to get up on stage, I want to record, I want to write and record music?
We just keep going in this direction.
I think it seems to be working, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's a funny one for me. I was listening to all those cool bands during the 90s and, just enjoying them and kind of learning guitar at the time. But I suppose the big change for me, and I was lucky enough way back when I was over at a festival in England, the V Festival in the late 90s, and Green Day were playing, and they do the thing where they pull somebody up, and I got to play guitar with them on stage, and literally those 10 minutes just changed my direction forever. I just wanted to play live, I wanted to play in a band, I wanted to play loud, heavy, record, take over the world, and it's just been that plan ever since. That experience, I still remember the whole thing completely in my mind, as clear as day, and yeah, I've been chasing that dream ever since. It was wicked, man. Yeah.
Mine isn't as cool as that, unfortunately. No, I don't know. As I said, the main artist I was listening to the drum parts, like Neil Peart, for example, from Rush. Just those parts were so intricate, and I don't know, it was nice. It was good to like rattle your brain. So and then I guess the power of like on them and stuff, kind of to mix it out too, really, with my influences, you know.
My sort of big redirection, I think, was seeing Audioslave playing in Paris back in like 2002, 2003, I think it was. I'd started playing drums when I was a kid, and I was never particularly good at it, and started playing guitar when I was about 15, and I was never particularly good at it, but I was standing about as close to Timmy C from Audioslave as I'm sitting to Mo right now, and just watching that guy do what he does on bass kind of redirected my attention a little bit, and it sort of took the bits of guitar and the bits of drums that I was half decent at and swapping over to bass kind of combined all of that for me. So kind of seeing him was what made it click and redirected my attention to playing bass, I think. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So when you sort of like got to sort of like proficient at playing your respective instruments, did you start any bands prior to starting Ritual Effect?
Yeah, I started a couple bands in college way back when, and I suppose my vision was always to become the band that we are now, Ritual Effect, you know. But you know, it kind of meandered. It took the scenic route, basically. You know, I was in bands with just other people who wanted to be in bands, but not necessarily wanted to really put in the time or the commitment, you know, and the energy and the drive. But yeah, like and I kind of segued between that and a couple of tribute bands along the way, just to kind of keep the challenge there, because you know, you can play your original music to whoever turns up, and they don't know what to expect. But I suppose playing in tribute bands in parallel, you know, kind of put the pressure on, and you know, really got the chops together for playing live in front of an audience and knew what they wanted to hear. And then over the years, I kept on trying to push this idea of Ritual Effect to various people, and some people in the tribute bands as well that I was in. I was trying to just gather the most awesome set of musicians I could. It took a great few years, but yeah, every band I've been in has basically been a journey to get into this band, and it took longer than I'd hoped, but yeah, here I am with my boys.
No.
Well, you know.
Starting bands? No. Well, yeah, I guess like I was playing in and out like bands where I was studying music, like different kinds of music. You know, like some of it was like jazz and all. And I did start like a punk band when I was like 13, 14. These people I knew.
You didn't have a lot of time to be in other bands before.
Yeah, to be honest, yeah, I was like fresh out of the womb, you know.
And yeah, for me, I kind of came up through tribute bands. I played in a Metallica tribute band for a long time. Then joined Mo in an Alice in Chains tribute band for a while, which we're still doing. But that was kind of where Mo and I started playing together, and it sort of grew from there, really. But yeah, I cut my teeth in a Metallica tribute for a long time. I was in that for 8 or 9 years, I think. Yeah.
Cool. We have a question from Aussie Ann 2025, and she asks, any tours abroad planned, and if so, where would you like to go the most?
I'll let you answer that one.
We do have some UK dates booked this summer, which we're really looking forward to. It's going to be our first time heading out of the country as Ritual Effect, at least. So we're waiting on a couple of confirmations, but I know we're going to be playing in Burnley and somewhere else in that geographical vicinity mid-June. And then we're heading for Glasgow and Carlisle towards the end of August. I think that's the 22nd, 23rd, something like that. In terms of where I'd love to play, man, I went to Grasspop in Belgium a little while back, and I would love to play at a festival like that. Something even like Rock am Ring would be fantastic. In terms of countries I want to play, yeah, somewhere in Germany. Lots of beer, be an excellent time.
Yeah, I second the Germany thing. I've been to loads of gigs in Germany, and they're always amazing. Crowds are always amazing. Great buzz. Venues in particular, I mean, dream big, but there's an open air amphitheater called Walbühne in Berlin, just outside of Berlin, and I've seen Pearl Jam there and Kiss there, and goddamn, it's incredible. Yeah, that's the one for me. But Germany anywhere really, it's amazing.
Cool.
Oh, I don't know.
Cool.
He doesn't know.
So, what has the band been up to, especially over the last 12 months or so?
You go for it.
Okay, well, we've been getting a lot of momentum behind us, especially in the Irish scene, at least. You know, we entered 2 years in a row. We entered the the Bloodstock Metal of the Masses showcase to try and give ourselves a boost in the metal community. And we did really well for ourselves. We made 2 grand finals, so nothing to be ashamed of there. It was a great battle, great gig, great crowds, great responses, and really, I think it really developed our name and pushed us out there within Ireland anyway. And we've got a good we did a good few gigs around the country, and we've headed down to Limerick to the what's it called
The
again?
Siege.
Yeah, the Siege of Limerick, which is absolutely incredible. It's another huge showcase, and it was massive exposure for us. We had a 2 p.m. slot. The venue was full. People were absolutely loving it. They'd heard, a lot of people had heard of us word of mouth, and they were coming to check it out. Had a good time. We've just been pushing and pushing, and then you want to talk about Reaction?
Yeah, so we went on board with Reaction Management there just after Christmas, and the extra push that's been able to give us has been incredible. We had our first single come out there just at the end of February. Blindside, it's our newest track. Dropped our video with that, and just some of the inroads that Reaction have been able to give us have been incredible. The response to the song, the reviews that we've gotten, this interview, this has all happened through them. So it's been really cool just to sign on with someone who's willing to put in as much as we are to what we're doing, try to help us promote ourselves a little more and get our name out there a little bit more. So yeah, we've got a whole bunch of new material that we're sitting on that's going to be released as the year goes on. Today, literally, we just confirmed our next video shoot as well, which is awesome.
Yeah.
And last night we were back in the studio, even though we haven't released all of our new material yet. Literally last night we were back in Track Mix Studios here in Dublin, getting our
picking my drums apart, figuring out how bad I really am.
Going through the drums with a fine tooth comb.
Yeah.
So honestly, it's all go. It feels like we've got some pretty decent fire behind us right now, and it's just a case of trying to find enough hours in the day to do everything we're trying to do at the moment. But it's an exciting time. We're sitting on a bunch of recorded material, and we're already going in with the next and laying the foundations for the next after that. So yeah, it's kind of cool. It's trying to find enough time to make it all happen right now.
Yeah. Busy boys.
Cool. So could you tell us a little bit about Blindside, please?
Well, okay, yeah. It's awesome. It's a very riffy tune. One thing that we're quite known for is songs with a lot of riffs. So this is one of the most riff-laden songs in the catalog to date. It formed around probably the main riff. We like to basically go into our jam room most days with a blank page. We just hit record and we just play for a few hours, and songs usually evolve very naturally like that, like around a riff or a drum beat or something. Circle around the room, you end up coming back with something that you don't know where it came from. But thankfully, like I said, we record everything, so we just listened back to our jam that day. We could see clear as day there was a song in there, and just took a bit of time offline, pieced it together, and to reflect on maybe the lyrics. It's quite a personal song for me. It's I had a loss in the family there a couple of years back, hit me quite hard, and kind of the first major one for me. And it kind of made me realize, it doesn't really matter up until that point how good you've had it, or whatever path you've taken to your life, and how much fun or how privileged you've been. Once the loss hits you, you're all on the same page. It's everybody has to navigate that, and it's a very tough space to be in. And it's just kind of taking that feeling, putting it into words, and just writing a kick-ass tune on top of it. I like to try and make a lot of positive things out of negative subject matter. So this is one of those. It's very personal, probably the most personal for me today. But the tune, I'm very proud of it, and I really, really am happy with the reaction we've got to it. Yeah. Do you have anything to say to that?
Well, actually, when we first entered Metal to the Masses as well, we thought it would be whether it was a courageous thing or a ridiculous thing to do, but we thought it would be a ballsy move to break out a new song we'd never played live before at a Battle of the Bands where everything was riding on it. So Blindside actually got its live debut at one of our Metal to the Masses gigs. So it's kind of cool. We actually have a professional video recording of the very first time we ever performed it. So
it wasn't kind of bad.
Yeah, it was all right. Yeah, we didn't fuck it up too bad. We also didn't win. But,
and we won that heat, though.
Cool. Lisaboo, my head moderator, who's in Canada, she says you have a new follower.
Thanks, Lisaboo.
Well, thank you, Lisaboo.
And got a question from Lisaboo, like sort of like going on how about your writing songs. She asks, "What is your process for writing songs?" You mentioned there you sort of like in a jam session,
Mm.
you sort of like record and you just like listen back to what you in that jam session. Uh, have you got any sort of like ideas of how you want to do that jam session? Have you got any that to say, oh, I've got some lyrics or I've got some riffs, or have you got like, oh, I've got a drum beat you can,
Mm.
I've, so what is your process?
Most of the time, honestly, it just happens organically, especially with this beast of a drummer. Paul here, literally, it's like pressing a random button. You know, you don't know what you're going to get out of him in a jam. But yeah, like honestly, everything kind of just grows organically in the room. The majority of the time, like I said with Blindside, we just keep on jamming and keep on riffing. It's so much fun. And again, as I was saying, you know, over the years, I tried to. This was always the band I wanted to be in. To all the kind of bands that didn't work out, but like these two guys, they just know how to jam, and that's something I never had before in a band as well. You just turn everything off in your brain and you just go for it. And after a couple of hours, you've just created something. And like it may not go anywhere, but most of the time it does.
Yeah.
Thankfully, in our cases, and again, we don't. I never would have wanted, or I've never myself gone, I want to write a song about this or this. The kind of idea as to what the song's going to be about always comes after the music,
Mm-hmm.
and the music kind of it makes sense very soon after the music is there, and then we have a vault of riffs that we haven't used yet, and you know, a lot of the time, whenever we have some free time, we're literally just going through the vaults in the car or at home, or whenever we have free time, just put it on the background. Something will pop in, and you go, oh, totally, yeah, that's where we need to go.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, and then you know, to develop some of the stuff that we come up with completely out of the blue, of course, we'll bring that back to the jam room occasionally. We'll kind of knuckle it down, and you know, a lot of the time also, and Blindside is a great example. Paul will hear a riff on a different beat than I hear it, and then we've got this amazing A B thing going back and forward. And
we initially have like two riffs off the bat. It really
yeah,
works out.
Yeah.
and yeah, it's great. Yeah, we're wired very differently, but very much the same. Yeah, it's great.
So actually, yeah, the riff in the middle of Blindside, if you give it a listen, there's actually the way that I think Mo originally heard it, and then we segue it very briefly into the way that Paul heard it, so it changes up just a little. The riff itself stays the same, but the beat going over it changes. And
Yeah.
that sort of thing happens regularly, where Paul will hear the one in a very different place to where me and Mo hear, and it can actually sometimes just evolve the riff into something we had never dreamt of being before, you know.
Very much
So it does happen quite organically that way, but I think a lot of it can happen just by sheer happy accident that way too, you know.
I think that's why our songs are just full of riffs.
Yeah, thank you for that, Lisa.
Yeah.
So, you've mentioned that you've got quite a bit of material to be released this year. Is that going to be on purely singles, or is that going to be on an EP or an album?
I think it's something we're still kind of discussing as to what the best approach for that is going to be. I think the plan for the current tracks that we're sitting on is to release them one by one by one. But I think then when the next set of tunes drops, we may look at dropping that more in an EP format, or even combining the two into an. It's all sort of like the concept of an album even right now is a little strange because of the almost pick and mix way that Spotify feeds songs to people now, you know. I think the way people digest music is very different to how it was back in my day, you know. You know, very few people sit down and listen to an album through anymore, and I think the reality as well of trying to keep your name in the news cycle, so to speak, means there just has to be content dropping all the time. So I think, you know, you drop an album, you know, you get through the, you know, your name is sort of in the news cycle for the album drop. But if you keep dropping singles, you keep your name and you keep yourself in people's focus a little bit more that way, I think. So it's really tricky to know the best approach. Like, I think originally we'd thought of maybe doing our like the Ritual Effect version of Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, and
Yeah.
dropping this epic double album,
Yes,
which we would love to
definitely,
do,
yeah.
but
It's
in
coming one day.
you know, in the, as I said, the pick and choose world that we live in now with Spotify, dropping a double album is a big commitment for people to sit down and listen to versus dropping it one single at a time. So I think for this year, at least, our plan is to drop everything one by one. But going forward, I think that's definitely a conversation that we need to have, at least, as to what way we want to organize it all. But we just want to make sure that we have that drip feed of material coming out for people.
The songs we do release individually this year, that definitely will culminate in some sort of package at the end of the year, like an EP or and a hard copy or something. And it might have a tasty little unreleased song in it. You never know. But yeah, I'm very excited about it. And like Christopher said, it's a great way to keep the momentum. Like we've had a huge amount of interaction and feedback with Blindside, and hopefully that's just going to keep continuing on each cycle of singles. So yeah, fingers crossed.
Cool. You mentioned that you've been in the studio. Are you sort of like obviously you're writing some more new material, but are you sort of like writing and recording any sort of like 8 to 10 songs or 12 songs?
We're splitting them up into. We're trying to make each project about maybe an EP's worth of songs. So we're looking at about 5 or 6 per studio cycle, and that way we can keep on churning them out while having enough to put together at the end of a nice set period of time. So that's what we're going for. I suppose it's also it's nice to get all the drums done in one session, and being busy working musicians, not as musicians, but trying to get all the drums in like as nice succession as you can in one nice project. 5 or 6 is a nice kind of manageable body tunes, and then also gives us plenty of work to layer a lot of tracks on top of as well. We like to layer, we like to overdub. I like to put as much music on top of itself as I possibly can. I think that's the Pumpkins influence there, because overdubbing and overtracking. I don't like people are, well, you're not gonna be able to play that live, but I don't care. I want the live visual effect to be something completely different to the release visual effect. Yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah.
I don't care. What do you want?
Something we found when we recorded Fossils a few years back, which was our debut album that way. That was 15 tracks, I think. But yeah, the issue we kept running into in the studio was that every time we'd go in for our next session to fix something, by the time the session was done, you'd made your way through like the first 4 or 5 tracks, and all of a sudden you still have these other 10 that need.
Yeah, so the first 5 are like gorgeous, and then the other 10 started getting less quality. Yeah.
So I think just as you said, the reality of not being full-time professional musicians, shall we say, and having to squeeze it in around our work schedules and everything, doing it in groups of 4 or 5 just means that everything's getting the focus and the attention that it deserves. And I think there's a better like uniformity through the tracks versus trying to do 10 or 15 at a time, where your ears just become numb to it after that long as well, So keeping it in smaller chunks that way, I think, has meant that we're getting to add more layers and more depth, but also create a sound, I think, that's a lot more uniform across what we're doing.
That's pretty well.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, after you sort of like you've done the sort of like the drip feed side of things for the songs, when you sort of like put them on to like sort of like an EP, would you put them out on as a CD, or would you put them on to like a vinyl record?
I'd like to do both, especially the vinyl, because we still haven't done a vinyl. Actually, we still haven't done a proper CD.
Yeah.
Everything's been online until now because it's just so easy, and it is kind of the most listened to format. But yeah, we're definitely seeing in the scene here anyway, at least, like there's people, like bands sell merch, and they sell a lot of hard copies of albums, and vinyls are massive over here in the underground. So yeah, I'd love to see it on vinyl, probably ahead of CD, but a nice little digipack would also be nice.
I still want to do a tape, man. I really want to do a cassette.
You're paying for it.
Full on old school, yeah. I'd love to do tapes, but I don't know if anybody can even play them anymore. So
yeah, I can actually play CDs, vinyl, and tape. So
nice.
Yes.
Your first on the
So
list.
yeah, yeah. So, um, is staying on like sort of like the merchandise type of thing? Is there any sort of like t-shirts, new t-shirts coming out, or caps,
Yeah,
stuff like
so
that?
we actually only a couple of weeks back we finally got our Bandcamp up and running there with our merch store on it as well. So we do have a very limited amount of t-shirts left from the last run that we did. We've been talking for about a year now of getting the new
Yeah.
t-shirt
The
design.
t-shirts sell great at gigs
Yeah,
as
yeah.
well. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We recently got a batch of like beanie hats done as well. We've got some stickers, that kind of thing. So yeah, all of that is on our Bandcamp, which I think is just bandcamp.com/ritual effect,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all there. So
And there'll be
yeah,
new t-shirt design this year, definitely.
yeah,
We've got
exactly.
some good stuff working in the background here.
So yeah, we wanted to do something a little bit different this year as well. So the beanie hats have actually gone really well, and we got them out just in time for summer. So that was excellent planning on our part. Yeah. But yeah, it's actually cool to see, and that was something we really saw at the Metal to the Masses gigs, was just how much local band merch was really shifting at those gigs. It was very cool. So yeah, it is out there for anyone who's tuning in, and we can ship wherever the hell you need it to go. Would love to see people wearing our merch in any corner of the world. So yeah, you can feel free to hook us up. Either drop us a message on one of our socials, or the store itself is there on Bandcamp. So yeah.
Cool.
Cool. Man,
really glad I sorted that. That was nice time.
Yeah.
Cool. So, as talking of you spoke, Ozzy has mentioned, are you planning any tours? You mentioned that you're going to be doing a couple of gigs in the UK. Is there any sort of like plans on doing like whether it be Ireland or in the UK itself, like a full tour?
So far, nothing in the
Yeah.
books, but I think again, just to optimize attendance and promotion wise, like a full tour would consist on going away for a couple of weeks and playing in bars in probably not suboptimal days of the week. I mean,
Yeah, I get you.
I think if we were to do it, we'd just be rolling out, like kind of chunks of Thursdays to Saturdays, and rinse and repeat, that kind of way. So that's kind of what we're trying in June to start with, anyway. And then all going well, we'll definitely be looking to add more to the schedule. But I suppose it's a little trial run first, and But yeah, I'd love to take this a lot longer on the road. It'd be great. We've got a great show, and we play in the same places in Ireland, or
The same
specifically.
place.
Okay, the same place a lot of the time, and we know it inside now. We know our stage. We know exactly what we're going to be planning on. It'd be nice to see a little more of the world and the band.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not like nothing after the Glasgow shows or the Scotland shows are set in stone. But yeah, we definitely want to take it further field. Definitely, yeah.
Cool. We have a question from Lord Jim Dandy. Hey there. He says, "Good evening. Who were your influences?"
Very easy one for me. Billy Corgan, Smashing Pumpkins, Jerry Cantrell, Alice in Chains, Daniel Johns from Silverchair, and Chino from the Deftones.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely first and foremost, and all the rest.
The Encircle. All right. Yeah, Neil Peart, Rush, John Bonham, Zeppelin, Bill Ward from Sabbath, very underrated in my opinion, absolute powerhouse, and Steve Upton from Wishbone Ash, really cool dude, lefty as well, I think.
Yeah. And yeah, for me, definitely Timmy C, Rage Against the Machine / Audio Slave, Geddy from Rush, obviously. Can never play like him, but I can aspire to play like him. So. And honestly, Mike Mills from REM, one of my favorite bass players in the world. He hears a song completely differently to the way that I do, and like the fills that he throws in and the accents that he hits are just so the opposite of what I would normally think. But he always gets me thinking about the way that I play in a very, very different way. So yeah, definitely Mills from REM for sure.
The two of these guys like to talk about Rush a lot as well.
Yes. We can do a separate whole thing about Rush if you like it.
Later.
I'll just go away.
Cool. Yeah, thank you, Jim. Thank you for that. So, Where can people find you on social media?
So I think everything is just like at Ritual Effect. So
Handy enough.
I think we're most active really on our Instagram page, but you'll find us basically across it all. Facebook, we're on. I'm still calling it Twitter, and I will not change that. We're on Threads, we're on Blue Sky, we're obviously on Spotify and
got
YouTube.
YouTube.
You'll find us there. And yeah,
We've even got ritualeffect.com, but it's a little dated. But it's cool to have your own website. You know?
Totally,
And
yeah.
then we have, if you Google Linktree Ritual Effect, literally every link that
yes,
we think is worthwhile is in there. So
Mhm.
yeah. Well, now you know. Now you know. He says that a lot too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you mentioned that you've got Bandcamp as well, where you can actually get your merchandise.
yes. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. So, guys, if you've got any more questions for Retro Effect, please ask away. We're going to start wrapping things up in about 10 minutes or so. Any advice for people who want to become a musician, whether for themselves or to start a band?
Yeah, first and foremost, do it because you love it and you really just want to play. You know, like there's been too many occasions where I've been paired with someone in a band who just wants to get money and get paid, and it's just fed up rehearsing. But you have to love what you do, especially in this scene when you're likely not going to make a huge amount of money. You know.
Yeah.
And then second of all, don't sell yourself short and don't put up with people that you're not getting on with in a band. You know, just call it a day, split amicably, and find the next bandmate. You know, because one day you'll find your buddies like I did.
I would say as well, support the bands that are around you. It's really disheartening when, like, you know, you're playing a support slot for someone and, you know, you stand there through, or they're, excuse me, when someone is supporting you and you stand there through their whole gig and support them and cheer them on, and then they pack up at the end of their set and fuck off, you know? So for me, yeah, like paying it forward, but you know what I mean? Paying it forward that way, I think, is huge as well. Building that network of bands, getting your name out there as a band that's reliable, that's professional, that'll show up,
Yeah.
and that will stick around and support the bands around them, I think is really huge too.
Treat every gig like a stadium show.
Yeah.
Every gig. It doesn't matter if there's two people there.
Yep.
Because people will remember you, and it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah.
You might be dying inside, but it's worth it. It'll come back in I don't know, tenfold, hundredfold. It's worth it.
Cool.
Come on,
Cool.
Paul. Give us advice.
Hit stuff. Nah, definitely what you said. Playing for fun. I think like that's everything with music. You know, I mean, it's literally in the name, like playing. You know what I mean? It's good to be around good people. It's good to be around like-minded
Yeah.
people. Playing the stuff you like and playing the stuff you don't like. You know, there's always a bit of that in music, but it's good. It pushes you as a musician and a person. You know, it's good.
Cool. Good sound advice there. Sound advice. Right, we've got another question from Lord Jim Dandy. Do you use AI?
If not like we wouldn't release anything with AI in it. I've spitballed ideas for artwork and stuff like that, but only as kind of to kind of convey what I'm thinking at the time. But we wouldn't not in music anyway. We've never used any AI in music. Haven't used it as a tool for recording either. So no, we're still very much outside that realm of things.
Scared.
We were actually, we were talking with our director of the next video, and he kind of sent us an idea that he put together, and instead of using 1,000 words, he was able to type something into AI and show us what his vision is for the next video, which will be purely human made. But again, just that's as far as we've ever driven AI, just to get our thoughts across in a chat.
Yeah, absolutely. But like even that, when you look at who our musical influences are and how the 90s was kind of our era for what drove us on to become the musicians we are. Like we don't even play along with backing tracks, anything along those lines either. It's very much what you see is what you get. It's guitars, it's drums, and it's just in your face rock music, you know? So like even as Mo was saying, when it comes to the studio, we put layers and layers and layers and layers of guitar, and you see so many bands that it's almost like a karaoke session with a backing track almost. But for us, it's not about delivering all of that when we hit the stage. It's just about delivering balls out, honest rock music when we get up there.
And
You
to
know.
display your vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Sweet,
nice.
man.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
art, man. It's art. It's like I remember watching a Lamb of God video or a DVD way back when they were released their first live one, and everyone was giving out, or like Randy was giving out to a guitar player for not living the experience on stage. He was just trying to play everything perfectly, but obviously there's a happy medium to that. But I think you absolutely just have to just expose your soul on stage, and like if you hit a bum note, that's it, it's gone. Yeah, it's all right.
Always happens
Yeah.
to me anyway.
Yeah. So no, we don't use AI.
Yeah, thank you, Jim, for that. So, we'll be starting to wrap things up. So, have you got any final words?
Basically, look, if you're checking us out, thanks for listening this whole time. But please, please, please go and check out our music. It's really the reason we're all here and the reason this band exists is to try to get our music out there. So, yeah, stream us on Spotify, watch our videos. Actually, definitely watch our videos, man. Angel, Cosmo Palace, check his work out too because he's incredible.
Yeah.
But yeah, look, if you've checked us out before, thank you. If you haven't checked us out yet, then please, please, please go ahead and do it. You will not be disappointed, man. We're really proud of the work we've put out, and we just want to share it as far as we can.
Yes, and in addition to that, there's a thriving scene here in this little country of ours. Tons of bands just aching to be discovered. So just take a deep dive through some Irish underground metal, rock, grunge. You'll be pleasantly surprised. There's playlists everywhere, and they're all friends of ours. We're all cool here, So just check out the music.
Yeah.
Come on, Paul.
Yeah.
Hit us with something.
What's the question again?
Any last words?
Last words
Before we kill you.
Come to our show and have a pint. You know what I mean?
Nice.
If you can make it, we'll have a little party. It'd be great fun. But, let's have fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on, guys. It's been a
Thanks for
total
having us.
pleasure.
It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and guys, if you haven't, like Christopher said, if you haven't checked them out already, please do. These guys are absolutely brilliant because I've been following these guys since the Fossils album. It's been so check these guys out. Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, and I have put all the links down in the description. So if you haven't, like I said, if you haven't done it already, please do check these guys out. Brilliant. So again, guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a total pleasure.
Thanks a million, man.
Nice one.
So until next time, guys, we'll catch you all later.